Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys very much for honoring this invitation to be here. And my name is Dr. Dieter. I'm a board certified internist and pediatrician.
Uncle
And
Mary, you have my earpiece. Let me come closer.
all right,
I'm on a team meeting.
Dr.
What did
Kenny,
you
could
say?
you help me and keep
Yeah,
in
I'm
muting
trying.
everybody?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to get that. I'm sorry, Dr. Dieter.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
So can you guys hear me?
There we go. Sorry about that, Doc.
Okay, wonderful. I'm going to take you guys through the science of modern day diseases. We now have convincing evidence that most of the chronic diseases that we face today comes from something we call metabolic dysfunction, which simply means energy shortage. And that energy shortage is driven by two things: insulin resistance and microbiome dysfunction. These two entities result in energy shortage, which then fuels all the chronic diseases we have today. I want to examine each of them individually and give us the link to chronic disease. So let's start with insulin resistance. What is insulin resistance? It's simply a fancy term to say your insulin is not working well. You see, insulin is a very critical hormone in the body and the most important hormone. In fact, I consider insulin to be the CEO of the body. Okay. The CEO of the body because it has a very vital function to perform. And when it's acting like a right CEO, it runs the body smoothly. Now, why is insulin the most important hormone? Because of this job that it does. The job of insulin is to do this, is mobilize glucose out of the cell. Let's mobilize glucose out of the blood, actually, into the cell. So when we eat, the end product of what we eat is the release of glucose into the blood. Okay. Insulin's job is to move that glucose out of the blood into the cell. In the cell, when this glucose gets into the cell, there is a small energy factory in the cell here called the mitochondria. In the mitochondria, once insulin has moved the glucose into the cell and it gets into the mitochondria, it goes through a complex series of reactions called the electron transport chain with the result of an energy molecule called ATP. This is an energy molecule. Now, every cell in the body requires energy to function. The smallest entity of the body is a cell. Cells group up to form tissues. Tissues group up to form organs, organ systems, systems, the whole man. Every single cell requires energy to function. When a cell has the energy it needs to function, it functions smoothly. When a cell lacks the energy it needs to function, it malfunctions. The simplest definition of a disease is a cell that has malfunction. So, why then is insulin such a critical hormone? Why do I call it the CEO of the body? Because without insulin, we cannot make energy, and energy is needed for every cell to function well. So when we say that you have insulin resistance, it simply means that there is a breakdown in this process. Anywhere where there is a breakdown in this process of insulin not being able to move glucose into the cell so that energy can be made, we say you have insulin resistance. And I want to examine how this breakdown occurs. It occurs in two ways. The very first way in which you have a breakdown of insulin not being able to do its job, insulin resistance, is the accumulation of too much fat in the cell. Okay. Too much fat in the cell results in insulin not being able to do its job. Too much fat. How does that happen? You see, there is a certain amount of calories that the body is supposed to thrive on. When we eat more calories than we're supposed to, what happens is that excess calories is converted into fat and stored in a cell. A cell is normally supposed to look like this. In a period, in a situation of overnutrition, when excess calories are taken in and making a replica of the cell, what happens is those excess calories get converted into fat, and then the body stores the fat in this cell. So normally, this cell was supposed to look like this, but now this cell is fat laden because of excess calories. Now, when this cell is fat laden, it poses a problem because normally the job of insulin is that when you have glucose in the blood, insulin will come to this cell and tell the cell, I got glucose in the blood, take it up so that we can make energy. And that cell, which is not occupied by fat, is able to do so. But when you now have the cell that is fat laden because of chronic overnutrition, when insulin comes and knocks on the door of the cell and tells the cell, I got glucose in the blood, I need you to take it up so that we could run it through the energy factory to make energy. This fat laden cell tells insulin, I'm sorry, I don't have any room in the inn. If I were to bring glucose in, he wouldn't have any place to lay his head. And this cell is telling the truth. It has no place to bring in glucose, so it refuses to open its doors at the knocking of insulin, and glucose cannot come in. And what this cell is doing is that this cell is trying to protect itself from excess energy. If you have ever experienced overeating on Thanksgiving, when you overeat, the last thing in the world you feel stuffed, you feel just bloated. The last thing in the world you want to do when you're overeating on Thanksgiving is to bring in any other bite into your mouth, even if the bite is your favorite pecan pie. You don't want to. So that's what the cell is feeling. The cell's favorite food is glucose. The cell's favorite dish is glucose. Why? Because the cell needs glucose to make energy. Without energy, the cell cannot function. But this cell is so fat laden that it refuses to eat its favorite food. And that's the first way in which you develop insulin resistance. Glucose cannot get into the cell, energy cannot be made. Now, that results in a second process or a second problem where you have a second step that compounds the problem, what we call too much insulin. And how does that happen? Now, when glucose cannot enter the cell because the cell is fat laden, glucose begins to accumulate in the blood. That glucose that begins to accumulate in the blood is a trigger for the pancreas to produce too much insulin. There's a one-to-one relationship between the concentration of glucose and the amount of insulin produced. So now the concentration of insulin produced by the pancreas now goes up because glucose is accumulating in the cell because in the blood because it cannot get into the cell. Okay. Now, too much insulin is not good. It's not good to the body at all. Too much insulin is like a CEO of a company who initially was level-headed, running the company smoothly, and comes to work and he has gone crazy. He now becomes a bully, a tyrant. He's yelling at his employees. You're gonna do things my way or the highway, giving unreasonable demands and firing people for no good reason. Too much insulin. That's what too much insulin is like. Now, if you have a boss like that who initially ran the company smoothly, and all of a sudden that boss comes to work and he has lost it, and he has gone crazy, you're going to lose your respect for the boss. And when you lose your respect for your boss because of their behavior, it's harder for you to do what your boss asks you to do. Okay, so you translate that to the cell. When insulin is running very high, too much insulin is acting as a bully and a tyrant to the cell, yelling at the cell, raising his voice, you're gonna do things my way or the highway. The cell doesn't take kindly to that kind of bullying behavior, and the cell loses its respect for insulin. When the cell loses its respect for insulin, the cell becomes reluctant to do what insulin asks it to do. So when insulin now comes to the cell and say, hey cell, I want you to open your doors this wide because, for glucose to get into into the cell has lost its respect for insulin. And in its reluctance, instead of opening its doors this wide, the cell opens its doors this wide. When the cell opens its doors this wide, a narrower door, less glucose enters the cell, which means that more glucose remains in the blood. That more glucose that remains in the blood, is a trigger for the pancreas to produce even more insulin. And even more insulin is like going from fry pan to fire. It's like a CEO. Even more insulin is like going from fry pan to fire. It's like a CEO that um, um, it's like a CEO that was crazy at this level and raises their craziness level to here. You translate that to the cell. When insulin is circulating now even more, this insulin is acting as even a worse bully to the cell. So the cell loses even more respect for insulin. When the cell loses even more respect for insulin, the cell becomes more and more reluctant to do what insulin asks it to do, opening its doors. So the cell closes its doors even more. So that causes a vicious cycle where the cell is closing its doors, insulin, more glucose is remaining in the blood, triggering insulin to be high. Insulin is becoming more and more of a bully, and just a vicious cycle. So that's how you develop the breakdown insulin resistance. Too much fat results in this first stage, and then too much insulin. Now, when you have insulin resistance, it now results in a slew of illnesses. Remember, I said insulin makes energy, secures energy. The cells need energy to function. In the absence of energy that cannot be secured by insulin, there is dysfunction. Its disease is just a simple definition of a disease is simply a group of cells or tissues or systems or organs that have malfunctioned. And the number one reason why they malfunctioned is they lacked energy. Why did they lack energy? Insulin couldn't provide it. So when you think insulin resistance, you can connect it to, many disease processes. I do not want you to take from this talk that insulin resistance means diabetes. No, diabetes is just one fruit of insulin resistance. There is cancer, there is PCOS, fatty liver, heart disease, high blood pressure. In fact, only 10 to 30% of cancers are due to bad luck genetic. The other 70% of cancers are driven by insulin resistance. So this slide also, I want you to know that it is not an exhaustive slide. I cannot find all the diseases in the world that are linked to insulin resistance to put on a slide. So this is just a depiction. Now let's talk about the second thing, dysbiosis or microbiome dysfunction. Let's examine that to be able to understand how that feeds into these chronic medical conditions. It's important to understand what the microbiome is in itself. Now, the microbiome is a group of about 30 to 100 trillion bacteria that live in our gut. Okay, 30 to 100 trillion bacteria. They're what you call the microbiome. They have a very special function. And I put it in big picture. Our gut is supposed to help defend us from illness. When our gut is not healthy, it's not able to defend us from illness. Now, this 30 to 100 trillion bacteria called the microbiome protect us from pathogenic bacteria, meaning disease-causing bacteria. And one of the ways they do that is by producing a very special molecule called a short-chain fatty acid that goes to maintain the integrity of the walls of the gut to keep them strong. You see, the cells of the gut are lined together, one to another, like this, lined together, one to another. And at the place where the cells of the gut meet each other is what we call a tight junction. So think about it, my feces meeting, cell to cell, cell to cell, cell to cell. At these tight junctions are vulnerable places where there could be weakness in the wall of the gut. These short chain fatty acids right here, like concrete, they go and pour concrete in this area to keep it tight, to keep the integrity, so that there is not weakness in the gut. If there is weakness, if it's not that tight, bacteria can seep through that weakness or toxins into the gut and cause you to have issues. The other thing I want to highlight here is that the microbiome, this 30 to 100 trillion bacteria, help to regulate and train the immune system. You see, you may not know it. I was fascinated when I learned this 2 years ago that 70% of the body's immune system resides in the gut. The other 30% of the immune system resides in the bone marrow, the lymphatics, the lymph nodes. Now, the 70% of the immune system that resides in the gut is trained by the microbiome, the gut. When the gut is healthy, the gut gives the microbiome a healthy reaction to the immune system. It tells it what to recognize a threat as a threat, to recognize what is not a threat, to be, hey, that's not a threat. And whatever is a threat, it then gives it information, say, okay, this is a threat. This is the level of force that you need to use for this threat, or this is the level of force that you need to use for this threat. It looks like this. When the microbiome is healthy, it may see a bacteria and tell the immune system, you see that bacteria? He's a bad guy. He's going to cause us trouble, but he's a weak guy. You can take him out just with a simple stone, just a simple stone. So it has recognized it as a threat and it has given it the appropriate response for it. Another scenario is you see that bacteria, he's a bad guy, recognizing it as a threat and says, but this bad guy here, if you use just a simple stone to take him out, you will not take him out. You need to raise the level of force that you're going to use on him. So for this bad guy, you need to drop a grenade in his backyard. You need to make a big splash, to be able to take him out. So an appropriately recognizing a threat as a threat and then appropriately giving what response will take that threat out. When another thing is that when the microbiome is healthy, you may tell the immune system, do you see that guy right there? And the immune system looks and says, nah, I don't see no guy. What are you talking about? And the immune system says, listen, the microbiome says, listen, the reason you cannot see that guy that I'm pointing to you is that that guy is in camouflage. Look very well. He's in camo. He's hiding in the bushes. He's in camo. Be careful with that guy. That guy right there, he is not a threat. Do not fire at him. He is part of us. He's doing some reconnaissance work. He may look like a threat, but he's not a threat. Please do not fire at it. Now, when the microbiome is unhealthy, it trains the immune system to be hot-tempered. Have you ever met somebody who is hot-tempered, ready for a fight? You say the smallest thing, the afternoon is warm, and they're angry that you've just mentioned the weather. They're ready to pick a fight. That's what the immune system becomes. The immune system becomes hot-tempered. The microbiome trains the immune system to become ready to pick a fight, ready to be angry, ready to overreact, ready to have his finger on the trigger. And it looks like this. It may see a bacteria and say, hey, you see that bacteria there? He's a bad guy. But we could probably take him out with a stone. But you know what? We've already determined that he's a bad guy. He needs to die. Why use a stone when you could drop a grenade in his backyard? Let's do a big splash. So even though he's a bad guy, we're doing an overkill for this little guy with a grenade that you could take him out with a stone. That's what the microbiome does to the immune system. It radicalizes the immune system to be hot-tempered, ready to pick a fight, to use unreasonable force. Another situation can look like this. The microbiome sees a guy in camouflage and says, you know what? It tells the immune system, I'm seeing that guy in camouflage, and I know that when I see camouflage, I need to be careful because camouflage may mean an enemy or camouflage may mean one of our guys to be careful. But the microbiome tells the immune system in that hot temperedness, you know what? We're in the heat of the battle. This guy's in camouflage, he's far away from us, and what have you, let's not take a chance. Let's just blow his head off, he could be an enemy. Let's just blow his head off. And we'll take him to the autopsy table and determine whether he was one of us or not. So the microbiome has now radicalized the immune system, to shoot indiscriminately, at anybody in camouflage. And it ends up attacking the body's cells, and that's how you develop autoimmune diseases. So microbiome, very, very important. Other functions here, synthesis of vitamins. So we say that you have microbiome dysfunction or dysbiosis when there is an imbalance in the microbial population. You see, in the gut, about 50% of the bacteria that are in the gut are what you call bad bacteria, and the other 50% are what you call good bacteria. These bacteria live in a 50-50% population with each other. They keep each other in check. We say you have dysbiosis or microbiome dysfunction when there is an imbalance. So the bad bacteria increase in number to maybe 70%, and the good bacteria decrease, to 30%. That imbalance is what we call dysbiosis. And why does dysbiosis occur? Dysbiosis occurs for one reason, because of survival of the fetus, shortage of food. The food for the microbiome is fiber. Unfortunately, in modern society, our foods are so processed, we're not consuming enough fiber. So it sets into motion survival of the fetus. Anytime that there is a shortage of something, food or needs, essential needs, the survival of the fetus. You think about COVID. When you went to the grocery store, COVID, all the bread was always off the shelf. All the tissue paper was always off the shelf. So the microbiome, they thrive on fiber because we consume very little fiber. It causes shortage of food. Now, that shortage of food, when there's shortage of food, the bad bacteria are the stronger bacteria. So the bad bacteria say, let's hoard in the survival of the fetus mode. They hoard the little food that is there to themselves. After hoarding that food that is there to themselves, they now say, you know what? We don't have enough food to go around for the good and the bad. Why don't we go ahead and increase our army, so we can keep a monopoly, a hold on this food? As a result, increasing their army to 70% at the expense of the bad bacteria. And when you have that, we say that you have dysbiosis. And when you have dysbiosis, it causes you to have a slew of autoimmune conditions because the immune system is attacking the body, multiple sclerosis. Just as I explained. I want to also highlight this slide is not exhaustive. There's so many other diseases I cannot include on here that are related to dysbiosis. Now, I want to highlight anxiety and depression because I found this to be very interesting when I learned about this 2 years ago, that anxiety and depression, the majority of that is as a result of the gut-brain axis. You may not know it, but there's a hormone called serotonin that is the mood hormone. 90% of that hormone is produced in the gut. The other 10% of the hormone is produced in the central nervous system. Now, serotonin helps to maintain happiness. Some people call it a neurotransmitter or hormone. So it's a mood hormone or the happy hormone. So imagine when the gut is unhealthy, you have dysbiosis, and it's responsible for 90% of the production of serotonin. When that 90% cannot be produced, no wonder you have anxiety and depression. Now, this slide here is a slide I call the metabolic sequence of disease. It just simply says insulin resistance and dysbiosis result in energy shortage that result in injury to the cell that cause chronic inflammation that result in the diseases and the symptoms that we suffer from. This can be bleak, but there is good science news that these diseases can be reversed, just like these diseases were the result of shortage of energy from insulin resistance and dysbiosis. There is now reputable science out there that if you restore the energy shortage that came as a result of these two things, you reverse the root cause, you reverse the disease condition. And I like to say it like this: if you're driving on a car and the car ran out of gas, the car will stop. That car stops not because of intrinsic failure of the engine. The car stops because the power source, the gas, has gone. If you go to the gas station, you buy gas in a gallon and come back to your car on the road and you pour gas into that car is going to start again. You're going to hear that beautiful gin of the engine roaring back to life. Why? Because the problem was not intrinsic failure of the engine. It was that the energy source was gone. So it is with these diseases. These diseases that come as a result of insulin resistance and come as a result of dysbiosis are diseases that deprive the body of energy. If you go to the root cause, you reverse the insulin resistance and reverse the dysbiosis, you're going to restore energy. And when you restore energy, the disease processes that were as a result of the lack of energy, just like that car started back again, those diseases go away, are totally reversed. And so I want to introduce to you guys a nutraceutical solution called the Feel Great System, which does just that. It helps to reverse insulin resistance and helps to reverse dysbiosis. And what is a Feel Great System? As I said, is a nutraceutical. A nutraceutical means it's a product that is made 100% from plants but has therapeutic benefits. Many of you on here in the healthcare field, you're nurses or nurse practitioners or what have you, you will be very fascinated. I was to learn that these two products I'm about to talk to you are listed in the prescriber's desk reference, physician's desk reference. As we talk, you could go online right now on your phone or what have you and pull these two nutraceuticals up. It was very fascinating to me. So these two things have become my favorite tools in helping people regain their metabolic health and take back and reclaim their health. Let's talk about the first product. The first product is called Unimate. Unimate here is made from a plant native to South America called the yerba mate plant. And it has a very special phytonutrient in it called chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid is what we call a polyphenol. And chlorogenic acid has a very special property. And the property of chlorogenic acid is to cause lipolysis. It's a fancy medical term to say fat burning. Okay. Now let's see how that can be of utility then in reversing insulin resistance. Now, if you will remember, the way you developed insulin resistance, you had this cell that was filled with fat, too much fat, and the cell could not take up glucose, and glucose accumulated in the blood. You now begin to consume the Unimate, which is rich in, I'll put that, Unimate, which is rich in polyphenol. It begins to cause lipolysis. This cell, which was fat laden, lipolysis occurs, and this cell now returns to normal. When this cell now returns to normal, the glucose that had accumulated in the blood that could not get into the cell now gets into the cell here. That glucose can now go and make ATP. You have reversed insulin resistance because you have taken away the fat that was occupying the space of the glucose. And that's what Unimate does. It helps to do that. The other thing is that once this cell is now free of fat, It helps to reverse the second stage of insulin resistance, too much insulin. Remember, there's a one-to-one relationship between glucose concentration and insulin production. So when glucose now gets into this cell, the concentration of glucose in the blood drops. When the concentration of glucose in the blood drops, a text message is sent to the pancreas. You need to go from producing too much insulin to low insulin. Now, low insulin is now like a CEO of a company, who now comes to work and, he has a revelation that he has been a jerk. And he comes to work and he calls an in-service to all of his employees and says, I know for the last 2 months I've been a jerk. I've been a bad boss. I've asked you guys unreasonable things, fired some of your colleagues unreasonably, acted in a tyrannical way. I am sorry. Please forgive me. The employees are taken aback. They're touched by their boss humbling himself and saying sorry. So when they see that humility, they forgive their boss. And when they forgive their boss, they regain their respect back for the boss. If the boss now tells them, I want you to jump, they say, how high, boss? Because they've now regained their respect for the boss. Translate that to the cell. When insulin now becomes low, because the concentration of glucose in the blood has dropped, insulin has now become humble. It's no longer a bully. It's no longer being tyrannical or bullying the cell. It comes to the cell and says, I am sorry. And the cell now says, you know what? I can work with that insulin guy now that he is low and humble. And when insulin now tells the cell, open your doors year wide so I can let glucose in, the cell is happy to. It opens its doors year wide. More glucose flows into the cell. That glucose can be run through the mitochondria to make more energy. So that's how the Unimate does that by its property of causing fat burning. Let's examine the other product, Balance. Balance is just simply fiber made from 7 different plants. And that balance helps to reverse insulin resistance in exactly the same way as the Unimate. But the other thing that fiber does is that fiber indirectly improves your insulin sensitivity by decreasing your glycemic index. I'll put it this way. Fiber slows the transit of food through the digestive tract, slows absorption. The slow transit of food through the digestive tract results in slow release of glucose into the blood. The fast transit of food through the digestive tract without fiber results in the fast release of glucose into the blood. So I put it this way. If you and I went to an Italian restaurant to eat lasagna and you had your lasagna without fiber, your blood sugar is going to do this, okay? And that spike in your blood sugar may be a blood sugar of 170. So that's you. For me, I know a thing or two about fiber, and I know that when I eat fiber, it's gonna slow the transit of food and slow my glycemic index, and I know that the balanced product is saturated with fiber. I take the balanced product first, and then I eat that same quantity of lasagna that you had. My blood sugar is going to do this. And that blood sugar for me will be maybe a blood sugar of 90. You and I have eaten exactly the same quantity of lasagna. The only difference I did was that I took the fiber product first. Now, when that happens, right, remember one-to-one relationship between glucose concentration, because your blood sugar went up to 170, your pancreas is going to have to produce a commensurate higher amount of insulin to deal with that blood sugar. So for you, your pancreas may produce 20 units of insulin. For me, because my blood sugar level went up to 90, my pancreas is going to produce a commensurate lower amount of insulin to deal with that blood sugar of 90. So for me, my pancreas may only produce 5 units of insulin. Now, I want you to think of 20 units of insulin as the crazy CEO who the employees did not respect. So the cell is more insulin resistant when your insulin is high. And I want you to think of 5 units of insulin as the humble CEO who the employees or the cell respect more. So that's fiber for you. The last thing is that fiber helps to reverse dysbiosis. Remember, I mentioned that the food for the microbiome is fiber. We're not consuming enough fiber. And by consumption of fiber, it helps to reverse dysbiosis. You see, Every living organism, whether it's a lion in the jungle of Cameroon, where I'm from, or a bacteria in your gut, requires nutrients. And the nutrients for the microbiome is fiber, fiber, fiber. So just by consuming fiber, you restore appropriate nutrition. There is no reason for survival of the fetus, and dysbiosis does not occur. If you're a woman in the United States, it's recommended that you should take in at least a woman should take in at least 25 grams of fiber a day. A man should take in at least 38 grams of fiber a day. Unfortunately, our statistics show that we're consuming anywhere from 10 to 12 grams of fiber a day. So that's why we have the epidemic of dysbiosis and the epidemic of insulin resistance because of this. So I want to end by saying the feel good system has become one of my favorite nutraceuticals in helping patients to address the root cause of their illness, restore their energy imbalance, and reverse their disease. And since I learned about this and began using that, I've been able to help many patients take their lives back from things like diabetes, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, obesity, and what have you. And I want to end by making that bold statement that a feel great system can help you reclaim your health again. And you guys as health professionals can become pivotal in help as many Americans take their health back. Thank you guys for listening. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then I'm going to pass it on to a moderator, Dr. Kenny, to moderate from here, and then we'll take some questions.
Yeah, I'll just show a couple. Thank you, Dr. Dieter. Always, man. I love your wisdom. Thank you so much for sharing what you have been learning and experiencing. And I'm just going to show a couple photos and show my own ignorance. And you hit this perfectly earlier, Dr. Dieter, when you said, I used to think when I heard the word insulin, I thought I'm not diabetic. Now, this is a photo of me. This was in February 26th of 2024. That's how old I looked. So insulin doesn't just make us store fat, right, and all the other things, but it makes our body ages faster. So that was me. And then, as you can see, and then this was me about a month and a half later. And so, because my insulin levels were so high, I didn't realize it had all those signs you were talking about, from skin tags to belly fat. My immune system started to falter. I blew my appendix out, went in the hospital for a month and a half. When I got out, this was me 35 days apart on this protocol. My testosterone levels are back to normal. I'm honestly stronger than I've ever been in my life. I'm 48. I'm older than when I started, obviously, but I no longer have fatty liver, sleep apnea, and my AFib completely resolved. Should have warned you, this is Keith. This is Keith's diabetic foot ulcer. We have more than just Keith that's had something like this happen. I'll let Keith tell his story, but this is what a diabetic foot ulcer looks like. And this one here, this husband and wife on the right, that is the same couple on the left. And I just always ask people, I'm like, man, if you saw this couple, if they were your family or friends and you knew them before, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'd be asking them what they were doing, right? I mean, crazy. But this was them just a handful of months apart. Now, this is a friend of mine I met through this. His name is John Taylor. And John is 67 years young, had fatty liver, sleep apnea so bad he said he was waking his neighbors up, triple digit high blood pressure, both numbers. In a matter of months, John is he reversed all of those things and he's off all his medications. Here's our own famous Dr. Dieter. And Dr. Dieter, I had you beat, I know. So I think you said 220 pounds here, right?
Yes.
And that was Dr. Dieter. Now, obviously, a lot of people ask us, why not just fast? And I mean, Dr. Dieter found fasting, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Dieter, but I believe you said it was 6 years between the two photos, and you were running 2 to 3 times a week, right? Like pretty
That,
good
that's
distances.
that's correct.
Yeah, and then this is Dr. Dieter now on the right, and that was simply a couple of months on this protocol, guys. And so this is a friend of mine, Colleen. She lives down in Austin, Texas. That is a year apart. And the reason I like to share this one is these are plants. These are sustainable. These are safe. They're nutraceuticals, which I honestly just learned recently. A nutraceutical means it's standardized. So, from a physician standpoint, right, it's not that people are anti-supplement, but you don't always know what you're getting in dosages. This we know. And she's now off of every medication except 1/4 of her thyroid med. medication. And she said she'll probably be off that next, but she's off her metformin, off of her statins as well. This is our friend Deb. So Dr. Dieter just laid out gut dysbiosis so beautifully. You may have heard it also called leaky gut. The picture on the left is our friend Deb, who was a size 12, severely insulin resistant. She had tons of allergies. She had headaches, low testosterone, and she had IBS. And within 7 months, that picture on the right is Deb. And Deb, honest to God, looks even better. I just saw her this weekend, but she was able to go from a size 12 to size 4. But she also got rid of her allergies, her gut issues, her headaches, testosterone, and her IBS is gone. Now, this is our friend Angelita, a nurse practitioner. Picture on the left, she was on for 10 years. She told me she was on 6 different medications. She was on 5 for GERD and IBS. And as Dr. Dieter laid out, your serotonin's made in your gut. She was also on an antidepressant. And within 2 weeks, Angelita was able to get off all of those medications. And this is Angelita today. One thing I like to always point out is this is a box of the Unimate from Canada. And if you look here below, it says low energy. Now, there's some naturally occurring caffeine in this. Now, there's a low caffeine version, but I had cardiac AFib and I wasn't supposed to have caffeine, but I knew the power of insulin and I did this on my own. I never had an issue. There's theobromine in it, which also trumps the effects of epinephrine. So I just kind of like to show that. And now, this is another foot ulcer patient. This is John Frost. And this is John. I mean, this is him. This was a month in. And so he also reversed his type 2 diabetes. So I like to show that because I think some people maybe sometimes think, well, wait a minute, like, come on, this is crazy, right? Well, we've had multiple people dealing with this. So there's Keith. So, Keith, I'll let you take it away, brother, and share away. And then Dr. Dieter, if anybody has any questions, please.
Thank you, Dr. Kenny. So yeah, I was type 2 diabetic for 25 years on insulin pretty much the entire time, 90 some 5%. Um, I, I was plagued with foot wounds that wouldn't heal. That was the third of the wounds that I've had. My shins were leaking, my legs were so swollen, and it all kind of came to a head in 18 when I started having autoimmune disorders. Um, Neuropathy was out of control, couldn't feel anything. And then January of this year, I actually passed away from sepsis from that same foot wound. Um, and after 2 months on hyperbaric chamber to the tune of 180 some $1,000, 2 months on a wound vac and a knee scooter. Um, that second picture was where what it had become. And within 2 months on the protocol, my foot was completely healed up. I was on 15 different medications over the years, injections 6 times a day, injections in my eyes every other month to try and stop the bleeding. Um, and literally on day one, my energy was through the roof. I had so much energy, I didn't know what to do with it. Day two, I was off 108 units of insulin entirely. And by the end of 2 months, I was down 60 pounds, down, I want to say 10 inches on my waist, 9 or 10 inches on my waist, um, off of 10 or so meds. I don't remember the exact amount. Um, and by the end of month three, I was off 100% pills, didn't take a pill, didn't take a shot, off all my meds. My eyesight, eye doctor, my eyes have actually improved. My foot doctor's amazed. My cardiologist is, she did a double take. And I was just at the dentist about a week ago, and I actually looked at the scale and actually had to look at it twice. And I'm actually down over 90 pounds now. I'm down 13 inches on my waist. And I just got a new driver's license. I didn't even recognize myself. I thought they gave me the wrong license. So, I mean, I've been on it 6 months now, and it literally saved my life.
The one side effect I kind of like say, other than like sometimes people get a little bit of bloating of fiber, but is you're gonna have to buy a new wardrobe. So
I'm in pants I haven't been able to wear in over 8 years. I don't even know why I kept them, but thank God I did. But all the new clothes I had bought are now way too big.
incredible. Thank you so much, Keith. Yeah, I mean it's and
Thank you.
we hear that. Well, it's crazy, man. It's I'm glad that your grandson has got a granddaddy. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Well, we're going to introduce Festus, Dr. Festus, please. So I'm going to see if I can highlight him to let him speak and
I'll
share
get him.
his.
I'll get him. I'll
You
get
got it.
him.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Dieter.
Mhm.
Look at this guy. This guy never stops working, by the way. So, Dr. Festus.
Yes. Sorry, I'm at work, but I can never stop sharing my story because this is something that it takes me at heart. It's a lot. It's something that I can never. It's kind of still mind blowing to me. Sometimes I think of it. I'm like, how could it be still possible that I'm not wearing the Aura appliance? So, hello guys, this is Festus. Back in 2013, I was diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea, and I had to wear the CPAP machine. It was very depressing. I wore it for like 6 months. Just couldn't help it. Came across this Aura appliance that I got from the dentist, about $2,000, and for the past 12 years, I have been wearing that. And if I didn't wear my Aura appliance, I would sleep just briefly, snore throughout of it, my legs kicking, because I'm having periods of not breathing, and then get up, my arms are numb, extremely exhausted, and it will be difficult for me to go back to sleep. And then the whole day I'll be exhausted. I'll need to go through so many caffeines to make the day. Now, um, when I started this in May, when Dr. Dita told me about it, I started in May. A month later, my energy was off the roof. Now, actually, just the following day, I stopped drinking any form of caffeine, any form of coffee. I did not need it. I was powering my days just fine, still having my aura plant. But after a month, I felt so energetic, so I took it off. And since when I took it off, in I think about June-ish or so, I have not put it on again. That's it. I have not. That's it. It's completely done. Then I called my sleep study doctor. He's actually a friend of mine, and I was talking to him about it, and he's like, if I'm not getting any of those symptoms, it means I'm sleeping good. I don't have to worry about it. And we all know there is no single pill that can cure sleep apnea. Literally, I can use that word because I sleep now like a baby. I sleep flat. I don't need to worry about nothing. Actually, I travel now. Recently, I've been traveling and not need to hold that cup with my Aura appliance. And that to me is it's thrilling, and that's something I cannot stop talking about it. But all because of the inflammation that was as a result of insulin resistance, because my neck was much thicker, but now it's kind of shrink. So yeah, so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Dr. Festus, my wife's really happy that mine's gone too because I was freaking like I didn't realize you don't hear yourself. Yeah, and I was waking up like you. I never got diagnosed. I didn't have any appliances, but yeah, man, holy smokes. Oh my God, that was you? Wow.
All right.
Did we lose him?
Um,
Yeah, I'm still here. I had
Oh,
to
yeah.
go. Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry
All right.
for yeah. Thank you.
Dr.
Thank
Festus,
you.
thank you, sir.
Mm.
Thank you for sharing. Um,
Dr. Dieter, someone had, I think Francis, I think rose their hand at one point. Yeah, yes, there we go.
sure, sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. We'll take your question.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Francis, and I was invited by Miss Priscilla.
Okay.
Okay, when she told me about this product, back in the year 2011, 11 and 12, I participated in the program Unicity, and they call it BioSlim. So we did that for we did that for a while, and then listening to Dr. Dieter, BioSlim was doing exactly what Balance is supposed to be doing right now, and there was a lot of result that we got from that.
It's the same product, Francis.
It's the same product, yeah,
Yes.
because that,
Yeah.
because I
The
participated
same.
in that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, when I did that back in the year 2011 and 12, Unicity, the question I had that time was, can children, you know, age above 5 and above take this Unimate or Balance? Because I know then the BioSlim, the kids can take it. So
Yeah.
that's my question now. Listening to Dr.
Easy.
Dieter, yeah.
Easy answer. So Francis, I'm also a pediatrician. I have 4 kids. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, 2-year-old, and a 7-month-old. My 2-year-old, my 5-year-old, and 7-year-old are all on it every day.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm giving it to them preventive, you know. I
It's like
want
you always say, Dr. Dieter, it's food, right?
it's food. It's
Yeah.
food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now when you get, because I have a 11-year twin boys here.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend giving? Is it the Unimate or the Balance, or how often do you think we should give it to them?
Yeah, for the twin boys, the 11,
Uh-huh.
I'll give them Unimate every day and give them
Okay.
balance every day. Just don't have them fast. Yeah. That's what
Okay.
I do to my kids. Again, what Dr. Kenny said, this is food. The Unimate is food. The balance is food. It's fiber.
Mhm.
Giving them
Yes.
fiber that their body needs. Yeah.
Yeah. So they
Yeah,
can take.
my daughter Frances is 13. I've had her on it now since I started, and
Uh-huh.
her mood is so like I wish I'd known this sooner. Like her mood's better when she does it. Like her mental focus, her standard test scores have doubled in her case. I mean, just to name a few, but
Yeah, that's a nice product because when we did that and they stopped it, and I didn't participate anymore. So when Priscilla told me about it, I said, "Yeah, Unicity, I know about this. It used to be called BioSlim."
they still
So
call it that, Francis, around the world in a lot of places. It's still
In
called.
Europe, yeah, Europe,
in
they may
Europe,
still call
okay,
it that.
so
Yeah.
it hasn't. Okay, so but then BioSlim will be balanced.
Yes,
Yes.
it's
Is that
correct.
correct? Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
No
Yes, ma'am.
problem. No problem. I think we have Chigozie. Your hand is up. We'll take your question.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Dieter and Dr. Kenny and every other one. I was invited by Mr. Willie. My question is, what is the approval from the? I'm not into the sciences, just in case there's any error. Just pardon me. Is it the FCDA or something like the approval body in the United States? Is this product approved
I- Is
for?
is is is
You
it
understand what I'm
FDA
saying?
approved? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Dr. Kenny, I'll let you take that question. We could just go back and
Yeah.
forth.
We are in the physician's desk reference. So that is where it's like way I explain this is like the medical Bible for doctors. So when Dr. Dieter prescribes a drug, these products are in there. So to give you guys some perspective, the FDA recommends Twinkies like it's in the FDA, but they don't recommend vitamin D3.
Yeah. And to add to what Dr. Kenny is saying, um, um, things which are considered nutraceuticals and supplements do not require FDA approval.
Okay.
They
And
don't.
and
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 so it
and
is, and so that's the reason why. As you say, you can go and look, vitamin D is not on the FDA approval list, but people take it. So
so
anything which in supplement category or nutraceutical category, yeah.
Can you see that? So yeah, so you see these numbers right here?
mhm.
We are third party tested. for herbicides, pesticides, mold, mildew, bacteria, and carcinogens. So what that means is an outside source verifies each batch.
Independent.
Independent. Thank you, Dr. Dieter.
To
Okay.
add on
Okay,
that,
thank you.
Dr. Dieter, so they are actually good manufacturing practice certified. That's really what you want to be looking for in terms of the quality of products like this.
Yeah, it's challah and oh my gosh, I'm totally dropping the ball. The other one, it's kosher also. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Pestis.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any
Did you
other
mention, Dr.
any other
Dieter,
questions?
did I
Yeah.
mention, did I miss this? But did you also explain that it's a 90-day money back guarantee?
No, I did not. You could go ahead and explain that.
Yeah, so what they've done is this works so well. Like when you combine these two products with intermittent fasting, this is effective as diabetic meds, blood pressure, cholesterol, and weight loss meds like injections. Now, because these are plants, you can use them with any medical condition. My mother has renal cell carcinoma. She got diagnosed last summer. Her kidney function went from 23 to 56% in 2 months. Her lipid panel is perfect for the first time in 40 years, even dealing with cancer, guys. And so we guarantee this product to any consumer for 90 days. And there's a fasting app, and you might be thinking, I don't think I can fast. Many people think that, but when you wake up and sip this tea, I mean, it just makes, I mean, Keith was a type 2 diabetic. It makes fasting super simple. And if you can't fast, don't worry about it. You'll notice over time you will start to fast. And when you do this, the reason I'm telling you this is there's a fasting app and you just mark in this app. It's really simple to use. You track it. When you track it, you'll get better results. And you just push. I took the Udamate 1, Udamate 2, and balance. And if you do that 50% of that 90 days, they guarantee this for you. And if you're consistent and use it properly, it will not let you down. I mean, Dr. Dieter, you were just telling me what you had a type 1 diabetic. I think you said
Mhm.
4 days on the product and they
Yeah,
reduced
4 days on the product. They had reduced their insulin requirement by 50%, the type 1 diabetic. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope that helps. But that
Yeah.
when I saw that and when I saw the PDR like Dr. Dieter, I was like, oh my gosh. It's like I can guarantee this, and this is right in the book that they're recommending drugs from. I was like, how do I get involved? And especially after it changed my life, I was like, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, Hunter made a comment. FDA approved
Sure.
the COVID shot that I don't think is a question, Hunter, you were asking, but just a comment. FDA approved the COVID shot that got everyone more sick. Don't always trust the FDA. I want to reiterate, guys, that what this does is that it treats the disease as at its core. The two reasons why we are sick, insulin not working well and your gut. Those things cause all the illnesses that you had. You guys just had uh Dr. Festus testimony. Dr. Festus struggled with sleep apnea for 12 years of his life. 12 years. And he had no clue that it was related to those two things, insulin resistance and his gut. And just by addressing that with these products in a space of a month or two, Dr. Festus reversed the sleep apnea. We've had many testimonies of people like that, multiple people who had sleep apnea. I didn't have sleep apnea, but I suffered from insomnia. I could not get a restful night of sleep at all. One of the cardinal features of insulin resistance is insomnia, having an unrestful sleep. You don't have to have sleep apnea. And I sleep now, my sleep has been the best it possibly can be, in years of my life. So I want you guys to know that the core of our illnesses come from these two things, insulin resistance and your gut not working well. You reverse those things, you can take back your life again. What I see is that many people do not have a choice. We've been indoctrinated to think that meds is the solution. As Dr. Festus said, there is no medication that can treat sleep apnea. So all of us are giving, doctors are giving that indoctrination of meds. We push it out to patients, meds. We give them no other choice. But I am I strongly believe that if every one of us had a chronic illness and we were given, hey, if you did this, you address this root cause, your chronic illness will disappear and you have a permanent solution, or you continue taking medications for the rest of your life to manage it. I strongly believe that given those two choices, everyone is going to choose a permanent solution. And so, what we're doing here is trying to give you guys information to know that there is another solution out there to taking rather than taking meds. So this is powerful, Dr. Kenny.
Yeah, I was going to say, someone was asking about back pain. So when I got out of I almost died last year, and when I got out of the hospital, I feel almost ashamed. I mean, and what I mean by this is I was a chiropractor. I used to see a lot of people that traveled the world to see me. And I cannot honestly tell you how many now I realize my back pain is gone. And if you're on here and your pain is diminished tremendously, I mean, feel free to put that in the chat. My sciatica, I had neuropathy so bad I couldn't stand up. It was gone. I didn't know that that was insulin resistance in the nerve. Tinnitus. I mean, like we have people's God, guys, I'm telling you, eyesight improving. I mean, Keith's one of them. We hear it all the time. And it sounds really ludicrous. I get it. Yeah. But I'm like, if you go to Chat GPT or if you go to Grok and you ask it, is insulin resistance like related or causing or contributing factor to your medical condition? It is. I mean, it is. That's why nobody knows about it. If you fix the
Yeah,
root, you get rid
yeah,
of their fruit, right, Dr. Dieter? I mean, that's what I teach
yeah,
people all the time,
yeah,
so.
yeah. Frances, you asked the question of clarification of how to take balance. You take balance 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes before you eat. Just you have to take it before you eat, and you take it all at once. You want to take in fiber into your GI tract before you bring in anything else. That's the only way that the fiber will now blunt your glycemic index or bring it down.
Doc- Dr. Helene, I think, was asking a
Eileen,
question.
yeah.
Sure.
Good evening to you guys. I'm really
Good
impressed.
evening.
Yes, I'm really impressed by the testimonies I'm hearing about the product. Really got me here, and I was barely listening because I'm taking care of my mom. But I'm wondering if I can get more literature on the product. And the next thing I guess I have to ask really how I can get the product.
Yeah. Who invited you?
Really, Ade.
Willie Ade, yeah. Talk to Willie. Willie can give you literature on it, and he can also equally give you a link on how to get the product.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And there's also a too, Dr. Dieter, if they don't have it, I think I've got a link to all the science literature too. I mean, there's a lot of the
Yeah,
studies. If you want Dr. Helene to see those as well, we can get you that as well.
yeah. I can find that really quickly, that link.
Let me see.
Okay. I
I,
appreciate it. I'd
and
love to get the link.
I share that in. It's okay. There we
So I
go.
think I've got it saved as a shortcut in science. Let me
Yeah,
see.
I got it. I got it. So here it is. I'm gonna paste it in the comments right there.
Thank you so much. I
No
appreciate it.
problem.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys for the information.
no problem. No problem. Well, if you listen to this and it's intrigued you, and the friends and family members that you would have wished heard this talk, we're going to be doing another one of this. On the next one of this, we're going to be doing uh, on Sunday. So whoever invited you to this, ask them to give you the link for the Sunday talk. The link will be different. And invite any loved ones or family members that you wish would have heard this.
Yes.
Now,
Okay. I wanted to say this. If I have the literature, I know in the interest of time, I'd like to send people to the meeting. The interest of time, I can pretty much really share the information because I have a little bit of medical background. I can
okay.
identify with many things you said. And if I can get just literature to educate people as I go, I may be able to do that as well. It's interesting to me that something of that nature can help for a whole wide variety of diseases. My sister was just here telling me she's unable to sleep. It was yesterday. And I'm like, you're able to sleep? She says she's up till morning every day. And now she's
Yeah,
beginning to forget. I'm like,
yeah.
what? So this sounds like something that you could start to take. So
Yes, yes,
I guess I can
yeah.
find many more people with conditions like that. So
Oh,
the
yes.
literature will go a long way if I can have it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Some the literature that I sent you is going to help you, but there may be some other things that you may need. So there may be some other things that you may need that may
Yes.
help you with that. So Willie, who referred you to this, I can work with him and you and Dr. Helen. What do you do? Are you a medical
I'm a
doctor? Are
pharmacist.
you
I'm a pharmacy
a
doctor.
nurse practitioner? Say that again.
I'm a pharmacy doctor.
Oh, you're a
A
pharmacy
special
doctor.
pharmacy.
Doc- Okay, Dr. Helen, I can see you as being very vital in joining our team. We have a team of people, who we are trying to work with to help our community and help as many people take back their health. So I can see you as being pivotal. We have pharmacists on our team like Dr. Festus, doctors. The more people in healthcare, come into our team, the more impact we have. So I will encourage you to consider a conversation with Willie and even with me later. We can explore ways in which you can join our team. We would love to work with you. So Willie has my number.
What's your name again? I
Dr.
lost my
Dieter.
screen.
Dr. Dieter. Willie has my number. We can
Okay.
connect together. We could explore those ways. We will love to work with you because you could be vital in helping spread this word.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, that sounds very good to me. It's quite an
Wonderful.
idea. Yeah, please. I didn't get the name of the product because I was in and out.
The name of the product is called the Feel Great System. There are two things in the product. One of it is
What's the
called
name again? I didn't get the name, please. I didn't catch it. They feel great.
the Feel Great System. It's called the Feel Great System, and I'll put that in there. Feel Great System. It has two nutraceuticals in it, and the two nutraceuticals it has in it are Unimate and Balance. And as I said, you're a pharmacist, right? If you went to the physician's desk reference and
Yeah.
you typed Unimate and you type Balance, you'll find them in the physician's desk reference.
Can you tell what you just said to me so I can just copy and do a search of that?
I think I did. Did it
It's
go
okay.
away?
Okay, okay. I lost my screen. I'm going to find my screen.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
If not, right? Yeah, I have it. I have it tied. The field grade system, Unimate and Balance. Why not take a few more questions and we'll wrap it up? I think I see a question here. I'm Evelina, invited by Priscilla. I'm also in healthcare. I will also love to order the product and join your team. Fantastic. We want to build as many healthcare providers on our team to help us help as many people in our community take back their life. So speak to Priscilla. Priscilla is going to help you to be able to number one order the product and to be able to join the team. I'll see if I'm missing any other question. So
Ernest has his hand raised, Dr. Dieter. If you saw, I'm sorry, brother.
say
Did
that
you see
again.
Ernest has his hand up? Do you mean to take
Okay.
what you're searching? If I can.
Ernest, give me 1 second. Let me take a question from Hunter. Sorry, I did have a few questions. And may I also have a new link? A new link. Okay. Hunter, is it possible for you to unmute and
Yeah.
and ask us your questions and
Yeah.
then clarify on the link issue?
Oh yeah, sorry. I just want just to like where to purchase it. And then also I'm with Priscilla. I'm one of her patients probably for like 5 or 6 years. And I did just start Wegovy and she brought me in here because she always wants the best for me, honestly. Probably one of the best hand downs doctors, even though she's a
Wow.
psychiatrist.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and so how is this different from Wegovy? Because I know there is some side effects and my body doesn't always like medication. So I'm really trying to go the natural route of things. Like, is that something I would stop fully and just do this product and continue sorry, working out and eating healthy? And then let's say you did have to take, like ADHD medications, would this affect that in any way?
All right. I'm going to let Dr. Kenny answer that, and I'll do any addition if I have to.
Yeah. So, I
Thank you
mean,
so much, Hunter.
yeah, Priscilla, or Hunter, we've had, I mean, I can't even honestly tell you what the protocol does to keep it simple is it reverses insulin resistance like Dr. Dieter's taught, but it also detoxes the liver. And that's what we'll see a lot of fatty liver go away. Now, that allows the body obviously to function better. And then it feeds the gut. And so when you start feeding the gut, it's 90 to 95% of your happy hormone, serotonin, is made in the gut. That's why they call like antidepressant medications SSRIs. And so your body starts making its own. Now, you would definitely want to work with Dr. Priscilla, obviously, right? But what's really cool is when people do this, they go in and get their blood work drawn and the numbers don't lie. And so you'll start feeling better. Most people start consulting with their doctor, say, "Hey, I'm really feeling great. Can I vary this?" And most doctors are like, they're going to work with you. And Dr. Dieter can explain that part better being a physician. But I see it all the time with people. I mean all the time, honestly. Now, sometimes too, so Hunter, I always recommend getting a really good quality salt to use. We have a new product called Signal. We didn't really touch base on that, but it's what that does is when you're taking in fiber, usually people with depression, things like that, autoimmune, their gut's really damaged, as Dr. Dieter laid out. And so sometimes you might get a little backed up with fiber, okay, or a little bloat to start. If you had some really good couple of pinches of salt in the morning throughout the day, like Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, that really helps that. And it will help you stay hydrated. So I just want to throw that in there where I thought about it for you ahead of time, okay? Dr.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dieter.
and I will add one last thing to that, and then we'll take Ernest's question. And I think there is another question in the chat. So you can work with in regards to side effects, this does not have the side effects that Wegovy is going to have, the nausea, the what have you. It doesn't have that. Now, one thing I tell people, because this is filled with fiber. Some people have very bad gut dysbiosis. When they start taking the fiber, they have a transient mean temporal period where they have constipation. That lasts about 1 to 2 weeks, okay? A transient period. That is gone when your gut acclimatizes or gets accustomed to the fiber and you don't have any other issues. But those other issues with Wegovy, people don't have them.
Mhm.
So you can work with Priscilla. You can do one or two things. One or the other is not right or wrong. You can start taking this and just stop your Wegovy because this is gonna just leave your Wegovy behind. In fact, in terms of comparison, in terms of that, it's 100% natural. It's going to blow your Wegovy away. Okay. You could start taking it and still stay on your Wegovy and wean yourself off your Wegovy. One or the other is not right or wrong. It depends on what your preference is with Priscilla. I hope that answered your question.
Yes,
Now,
thank you very much.
you're welcome. And you have a wonderful provider in Priscilla helping you to be able to do this, and I'm glad she invited you on here. This will help you, Hunter, to take your health back again, to reclaim your health again. Yeah, I'm glad she had you on here. Ernest, let's take your question.
All right. So I'm not sure if mine is actually a question, it's just a contribution.
Okay.
I like the presentation. It's the first for me to have really attended such. I know I've been following some advertisement on Facebook on something talking about gut. I'm not in the medical field at all, and I was invited here by Mr. Willie Ade, and
Uh-huh.
it sounds interesting. And when I got it, I would have to take it for myself because when I saw Dr. Kenny's testimony, I saw his pictures. So I identify myself somewhere in one of those pictures, and I want also to have a testimony to, tomorrow like that. But one of the things that is pushing me here is how do you reach that? I I am a digital architect, so I digitalize processes. When I looked at it, I said, okay, if this thing is so good, then Mr. Willie brought me here. I can offer my service to ensure that this thing reach a broader spectrum. I build CRM, I build entire processes,
Mhm.
entire AI process growth engine from start to finish. So if you need to push this thing up and get a trained agent that can do the work you are doing, and multiply it while you are sleeping, you have me. Just contact also Mr. Willie. Meanwhile, we can spread this.
Wonderful. NS, you're talking like somebody who wants to join our team, and we are looking for people to join our team. You see, in the United States right now, let me give you some statistics. In the United States right now, 70% of adults are on at least one prescription medication. When I was in medical school, I was never taught that diseases were reversible. I was taught to come out of medical school and push pills. I learned the science 2 years ago, and I was pissed that I was this information that I needed to be able to take care of patients was intentionally hidden from me. And I have made it my mission. Dr. Kenny has made it his mission. Dr. Festus, multiple of us have made it our mission. We need to help America take its health back. Look, the cost of insulin is about $2 to $6. Okay, the manufacturing cost of insulin. It costs, pharmaceutical companies sell insulin for $150 to $300. If you pay insulin for a $40 copay, you think you've gotten a good deal, but you're paying 20 times the price, 20x the price. The person who made insulin, sold the patent for $1. They didn't want it to cost anything, but that is what's happening. Healthcare is about profit, is about keeping people sick, and doctors like me, Dr. Kenny, Dr. Festus, our eyes have opened, and we want as many people, to be able to take their health back. That number about 70% of adults being on at least one medicine, that number, those statistics are expected to go up to 80% by the year 2050. We're not far away from 2050, and we can stop that. We can stop that. And so, NS, you're talking like somebody who, wants to join our team or will be valuable on our team. Please get with Mr. Willie. We will love to use your network. We will love to use whatever expertise you have to be able to spread this word out. As we speak right now, only 600,000 people in North America, 0.1% of North America, knows about this solution. Only 0.1%, 600,000 people. In North America, there are about 300 million people in North America, the whole of North America. So we have work to do. And Ernest, thank you for what you said. And we will love your help. We will love you to become a part of our team so that we can echo this message far and wide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll get to Mr. Willie. Thank you.
Now, I think there is another question from Hope. Hope said, invited by Priscilla, just joined late. Are these natural products? Any potential side effects? 100% natural products. The side effects that we talk about these products are transient, only from fiber. Okay. Fiber, if you have very, very bad gut dysbiosis, when you start taking the product, you're going to have bloating or constipation. Those effects are temporal. They last about 1 to 2 weeks and they're gone. Okay. But because it's food, there are no other side effects. There are no medications in them. Dr. Kenny, you want to add something?
One thing I would say, let's say you did, like my wife, Hope, struggled a little bit because she's always had terrible gut issues. And I just had her do a half of a packet of the fiber at lunch, half at dinner. That made it much smoother for her and easier. But what I would recommend, don't stop. Like when you start it, I don't care if you do a quarter of a packet, keep that up every day because that's what's growing and feeding the good bacteria. And if you stop, you have to start back over. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew that.
Beatrice, your question on fibroids. Fibroids are an overgrowth in the ovary. Do you know the hormone that causes overgrowth? Insulin. So fibroids, are linked to insulin resistance. So yes, this is going to help your fibroid. Evelyn said, invited by Priscilla. I will also love to order the product and join the team. I may have already read that. But yes, get with Evelyn, get with Priscilla. She will love to, help you with that and get you on the team. Now, If we do not have any other questions, like I said, we're going to be doing this again on our next call. Like this is going to be on Sunday. It's going to be a different link. So whoever invited you, ask them for that link. If you have family members, friends, and other people of influence that you think need to hear this to become part of our team, please invite them to. We'll take one last question from Eddie and then we got to run. This is the last question. Eddie?
Hi, I was invited by Dr. Priscilla, and
Okay.
I'd like to hear more about how this can help with the sleep apnea. I did not quite understand what you were saying at first. Like, if you can just tell me how it would actually help me with sleep apnea.
Do you have sleep apnea?
Yes, I do, and I use a CPAP.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
My
yes.
friend,
Sorry.
yeah, Dr. Festus, go ahead and explain.
Yes,
Thank you.
my brother, personally, when I
Sorry, by
start,
the way, Dr. Festus, let me give some context.
okay.
Eddie, Dr. Festus, who is talking to you, had sleep apnea and reversed it. So he's just going to share with you, answer your question.
All right, thank you.
So, from my personal experience, actually, I when I came to this product, I came more of as a patient, but I did a lot of research. Um, but when I started taking it, the issue with sleep apnea, most of us is that weakness. That's being very weak all day and tired, exhausted, always sleepy and stuff like that. So that to me went off like almost the first day. So, but as I was taking it more and more, I got confident and I start sleeping really well and up to a point where I felt to myself that I could take it off my aura appliance because it wasn't going to hurt me to just take it up and test it and see how it goes down because it's very easy for me to just know when things are not working well. So that's what I did, and since then I have not had anything like I used to have before when I don't have my aura appliance. I don't know if I answer your question.
Let me add something to that because you had made mention of that previously. So, Eddie, hypertrophy of the airway. Okay, the tissue around the airway. I want you to think about insulin as a growth hormone. When insulin is elevated, it causes things to grow. Festus, you mentioned how your neck was big. Your neck was big because of hypertrophy. So insulin causes hypertrophy of the tissue of the airway that compresses on the airway. Imagine a tissue that is hypertrophied, that swelling compressing on the airway because of growth from insulin resistance. When you reverse insulin resistance, insulin is like a growth hormone, causes things to grow. When you reverse insulin resistance, you're turning off the growth hormone. The hypertrophy of the airway now shrinks back. When it shrinks, that compression of the airway that was coming as a result of the hypertrophic tissue is no longer there. And that's what happens to Festus. And that's what will happen to you. And that's how insulin resistance, that's how this product will reverse your sleep apnea.
And
Yeah,
to add on to that, Dr. Dida, there's a recent study now that shows GLP-1s do help with sleep apnea. And I was talking with my sleep study doctor, and he was just telling me how it really helped with that inflammation as well. So I think with this product, because the on-demand tape boost the
GLP-1.
RGLP-1 by 60 to 70%, if I'm not wrong on the percent, but it does that as well.
All right. Thank you. Eddie, did you want to mention anything else?
no, thank you so much for that explanation, and thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Festus, as well. Like, I have a better understanding of it now because the way you explained it, the doctors had explained it to me similar, like what the problem was about the growth in the neck and all of that. So, but I have a clearer picture of what it does now. Thank you.
Wonderful. And this is hope for you, my brother. This is hope for you. If you get on this, I guarantee you that probably in a space of 3 months, your sleep apnea will be gone. I say that because we've seen this over and over and over again with many people who had sleep apnea, which is now gone. I'm sorry, guys. We now have to go. I said we were going to take the last question. Ronald Tor, let's punt that question just in the interest of time. Dr. Kenny and I have to go. If we have to answer that one on one, we will, but we cannot continue to drag this on past this time. But we're going to have another one of this on Sunday. So if you're interested in learning more, if you came late and you want to catch this one fully, we will share the link, and whoever invited you to today's call can give you the link to Sunday. And for those of you who want to join the team, please get with whoever invited you. They're going to help you to join the team. And we look forward to working with you, Ernest. We look forward to working with you, Helene. And I think there was somebody else, Hope. We look forward to all of you joining the team. Thank you and good night.
Night, guys. Thank you, Dr. Dieter. Thank you,
Thank
Dr. Fest.
Thank you. Thank you, doctor.